Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I just felt like, saw a video, got inspiration. I wanted to give my take on it. This is obviously about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Before I start the video, which is Endymions nuclear woke disaster plus Ubisoft erases history to appease activists. I just wanted to give my initial take on this when Assassin's Creed, I don't think it even had a title back then, but eventually it became Shadows, but when they initially announced Japan, I was amazingly excited because I like Japan. Who doesn't like Japan, honestly? Rich history, culture, and we're all a little bit of anime freaks as VTubers after all, right? But when I had originally heard about it, when I had even not even heard about it yet, like even I don't know anything to do with Japan recently in the last couple of years, especially when somebody suggested, after the Prey movie came out, oh yeah, maybe they should do something in feudal Japan. This guy right here, Hiroyuki Sanada, this man is the one that I would have envisioned as the main character fighting a predator, or obviously as your protagonist in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And, the reason I say this is, well, I don't know. I'll probably get into more depth as we watch the video. Let's just get into it before I go on a tangent.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is now officially out worldwide for the entire world to either enjoy or make fun of, depending on which side of the aisle that you're on. Like I said in my previous video, this
He
game
makes
really
a lot
is
of
one of the
videos.
last bastions of the culture war when it comes to where Western gaming is gonna go in the future.
I want to
God,
be
Because as you'll
I've heard that probably 12 times today, and my God, it's so cringe. Oh, it's so bad. I can't go into context yet.
come
We'll
to
get
see
there.
from
We'll
this
get
video
there.
where this game is going with its depictions of real life historical figures that it's so nuclear bad already that players
Okay, so on the subject of real life historical figures in Assassin's Creed, I, if you guys have seen me rant about it in stream, you know what I'm going to say. But the concept of Assassin's Creed has always been, since the beginning, maybe not always been, but since the beginning up to until at least four, up until Black Flag at least, the concept has seemingly always been, retelling historical events, but with a twist. As far as we know, Altair, Ezio Auditore, Connor, Edward Kenway, none of these people ever actually existed as far as we know. However, you've always seen them, at least from Assassin's Creed 2 to Black Flag, you've always seen these people, historical people showing up. Essentially, they exist in that time, they're themselves, but there's also the secret life that they have assisting the assassins. Like Leonardo da Vinci, we never saw him running around in big battles doing crazy stuff, but he was helping repair tools, improve tools in the shadows behind the scenes. Whereas this one, I will concede Yasuke is a real man. Well, was a real man. He, as far as the research I've done, he was a slave brought to Japan by the Portuguese, and the shogun, I believe, at the time, essentially found him entertaining as hell, bought him, made him a retainer. He was basically there for entertainment. He wasn't a samurai. But even saying that, the man is an existing historical figure. So the idea of bringing a real person in as a protagonist just makes no sense to me. And, that's why I was saying Hiroyuki would have been the perfect person to model your fictional Japanese assassin off of. The guy's fantastic. If you haven't seen Shogun, go watch it.
Have already begun to claim that Ubisoft is dead on arrival here. And of course, there's Japan itself, which has brought the attention of Shadows to their highest form of government, and it's a big yikes for Ubisoft, guys, so we'll start there. So to quickly catch you up, Japan
Yeah,
is
this stuff is going
Shadows.
crazy.
They think the game doesn't properly convey their culture at all. You can be mad about whether complaining about historical inaccuracies is good or not. The point is, unless you're Japanese yourself, you really can't exactly say what they are as a people feel is wrong or not. And then this brings me to two people specifically.
I mean, I'll tell you this right now. It's disrespectful. If you're going to go out of your way to try to make something, I know, like, I think the argument recently has been, oh, well, we don't make historically accurate things. It's historical fiction or something like that. You're going into another person's culture. If you look at Mirage, and I didn't play Mirage for long because I don't feel like the game mechanics were made well in that game. I played through the first mission. I got all the way through. I was hitting everything. I get to the door where I'm supposed to enter, and I'm like, why won't it open? Well, it turns out they wanted me to enter this whole compound through a window, not through the, essentially the skylight, as I did. They wanted me to, have my hand held and go through the motions. But even Mirage, they were, as far as I could tell, respectful to Middle Eastern culture, to Muslim culture. Whereas this one, the broken Tory gate, the idea that Yasuke was somehow the god of the universe, Mr. I saved Japan in my year of time there. It's
Ryoki Kata, and the other person is Prime Minister Ishiba. Yeah, the guy who runs all of Japan. He's now aware of Shadows too. This was also translated by Twitter user Ohio, my brother, so shout
That's
out
a
to
great
them.
name.
So, what the hell is happening? Well, Kata, a politician, brought Shadows to the attention of Japan's upper echelons of parliament recently, claiming that the game does not depict their society,
I think
culture,
that's
or really
supposed to be
anything with
Nobunaga.
accuracy. Some of the concerns that Kata brought to the National Diet was that Shadows allowed things like shrines to be destroyed.
If I believe, if I'm not incorrect, let's look at this up. I believe the National Diet is, well, hell. Let's take a look. Do a quick search here. Look it up. Okay, so the National Diet is essentially what they call the government over there, like the House of Representatives in America, the Senate, and maybe the Parliament in England. But the fact that a video game, not for violence, but sheer disrespect for culture, has gotten to a country's government and is being spoken of in the halls of their government is insane.
And that many religious artifacts were being included in the game that were neither consulted or given permission to exist in the game by anyone. Ubisoft just kind of put them in there and that's it. This then led to the vice minister.
Yes, we're very
of Economy
respectful to
Trade
their
stating
culture.
that the unauthorized use of real-life locations within Japan that are in Shadows to be grossly unacceptable, as Ubisoft did not consult anyone who actually takes care of these shrines and such to help depict them in the game. This brings us to another problem that the
honestly,
let's
see.
Which was that the problem that did not consult any.
I keep looking at this guy. He feels like somebody who got kicked out of Assassin's Creed Revelations or something. I know he's God, what are they called? I don't know. Let's go.
Anyone who actually takes care of these shrines and such to help depict them in the game. This brings us to another problem that the National Diet brought concern to, which was that they are afraid of, as Insider Gaming reported here as well, that Japan's government is actually afraid of imitation attacks due to things like Assassin's Creed Shadows existing.
So let's hop back on that for a second. This is I mean, I would hope the Japanese themselves wouldn't do this, but given the concept of global tourism at this point and all the influencers that run around trying to get shocked like a certain Johnny Boy, it it is a real worry to consider that, if in a game, just, I mean, it is and it isn't. I guess, in Japan, I could see them being worried because these are cultural landmarks, shrines, whatnot, that if they're destroyed or vandalized, they're kind of irreplaceable. The old argument was, oh, hey, if my kid plays Grand Theft Auto, he's going to go jack cars and kill people. That was blowing it a bit more out of proportion, but I can understand Japan's worry about this, especially in light of people like Johnny. Um, so as silly as it might sound to a Westerner, this makes sense to me.
Things like Assassin's Creed Shadows existing. So what do they mean by that? Well, as Hiroyuki Nata, the guy who initially brought this to the attention of Japanese government, said himself about this, in the game, the samurai protagonist smashes drums, sacred mirrors, and altars inside the worship hall of a shrine that appears under its real name. He slashes at people who appear to be priests, shoots arrows, and engages in other violent mayhem. When I asked the chief priest, he said that the game company had not contacted the shrine to ask for permission to use the name. The issue...
Okay, so I'm sure he's probably going to go into something like this himself. But going back to Mirage and respecting cultural heritage, the idea that they're going to pay so much respect to Islamic culture, and granted, I didn't play much, but from what I've heard, there was no chance in that game to run around, destroying mosques. But in this game currently, and I did see some footage a couple weeks ago where somebody ran up to one of the shrines, literally killed everybody, destroyed the shrine, and the only person he couldn't kill, like he tried to kill him, the only person he couldn't kill was the Portuguese merchant. How does that make sense? Like, why are you gonna be over here protecting mosques and everything, and then completely just disrespect Japanese temples?
Is that Japan's government is worried that if people who are stalwart defenders of things like disrespecting the culture of other nations, which is a big problem by the way, it's called tourist pollution if you need an exact term to describe it, it pretty much is a problem that many Asian countries have had to deal with for a while now. A high-profile version of this tourist pollution is Johnny Somali.
There he is, Johnny.
But I'm sure you know all about him, and now he's been charged with crimes and attacking locals and more for pretty much causing havoc and mayhem within all of these Asian countries for content.
And honestly, I'm going to say this right now. No matter the country, no matter your nationality, or for those of you who might be a little more worried about it, the color of your skin, we don't see that stuff here. Don't go to other countries and do this. Yeah, it might get you views, but just like a Paul, don't go to Japanese or Japan's suicide forest and, take pictures of the people that have taken their own lives. It's so disrespectful. There's got to be a better way to make content than just going internationally to be a jackass.
Johnny Somali is a genuine idiot, and I think that guy deserves all the hate that he's getting. Because he clearly doesn't care for what he's done to these countries and their people at all. He just wants the content for views. And let's not forget...
Okay, also, is it me or has Ubisoft not really touched on their graphics recently? This... Maybe it's just the quality of the video, but to me, this doesn't look 2025 graphics comparatively to what they've been doing over the years. Like, isn't it something for game developers to try to get even better? Obviously, graphics should always be secondary to narrative, story, the ability to get immersed in a game and enjoy it. But come on, Ubisoft, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Let's go.
that at least when this video does come out, that currently there is a alarming string of imitation attacks on Tesla products as well. We're talking about whole cars that are
I
being
mean,
keyed or damaged or downright burned down in protest of
let's
Elon Musk, who
let's
could
let's pop
perform these
forward.
imitation attacks, or is it
I'm nothing against you, Endymion. I am just trying to keep politics out of my stuff.
only harassment if it affects their employees? We know the answer, but anyway, the Prime Minister of Japan said this as well. It is absolutely unacceptable to graffiti a
Yep.
shrine. It is nothing but an insult to the country. It is natural
Fully
to have
agree.
respect for the culture and religion of a country. And I think it is
A
important
million
to send out the
%.
message that we will not tolerate any behavior that does not respect the culture and religion of a country and will not tolerate it. And I think this is a big deal because what Ubisoft has done here with
Yeah.
Shadows has even started to
100%.
affect publicly accessible information spots like Wikipedia, where Yasuke is listed as a real samurai when in reality that is not true at all. And in
Right.
actuality, he was just some guy that was bought for being black. I mean, unfortunately, that is what happened.
Yep.
And then he was given back to his slave owners once the guy who bought him got betrayed and killed.
Which I believe was
Some may
Odo,
think this doesn't
Odo
matter,
Nobunaga.
but, yeah, it matters a lot actually. Speaking of publicly altering real life things to make your game seem more legit.
But I didn't look it up before we started the video. I probably should have. But one of the most amusing things I've seen in regards to Shadows was the very real concept of somebody's expectation. You know, Yasuke runs up, offs a dude, stealth assassin style. Onlookers come up. Oh my God, he's been killed. Who could have been the culprit? Turns the sea of Japanese people, and then like the 1.5 foot extra tall black man. I wonder who it could have been. Talk about standing out in a crowd.
This is where we get into big yikes territory. So, some context. In Shadows, you can romance people. They've done this in previous games, but here it's egregious to say the least. Both Naoe and Yasuke have access to a straight romance, as in one romance being heterosexual, and the rest are basically gay or non-binary, which
I mean, I can see that nowadays. I'm not entirely sure why an Assassin's Creed game needs... Why a game about a secret organization of assassins trying to save the world from a secret organization of Templar authoritarian douchebags? Why? I mean, maybe they're just trying to adapt to the times and get a little bit of a romance in there, like Mass Effect. I believe ever since... I mean, even Black Flag kind of had one, though I don't believe you actually got the choice of who to pick. It's happening with all games lately, so I'm not too worried about it. Except for this one part. Again, this is why you don't use real historical figures as playable characters. Because you're surmising on the reality and calling it historical fiction. I don't know about this guy. Last thing that I saw supposedly about Yasuke the samurai was, a black and white picture of him with an Asian woman. Actually, I think she was black too, but she was like wearing a yukata. So essentially that would suggest he was straight. But even so, this is why you don't give historical figures, have them be the protagonist, have them be a side character. I would have been totally down Hiroyuki Sanada's character running around being badass assassin, or even, God, I forget her name. Forget her name. He just said it. Naoe, I think. Even if it was fictional Naoe, and then have Yasuke being a side character who assists you, an NPC, would have been better than, surmising, oh, well, maybe he was into all this stuff. Also, I mean, I didn't look into it historically, but I doubt non-binary was a thing back then.
Isn't that also gay? I don't know, man. It's all nonsense to me. Anyway, as if Ubisoft couldn't screw up things enough, it actually turns out that Yasuke's main love interest, as in his
Oh.
canon love interest, because yes, there's actually a mode in game that you can turn on that automatically selects what Ubisoft considers to be the right choices for each character, pretty much.
Okay, that's weird. I. Why do you give your players choice if I don't know. I don't know. At the end of the day, you know, everything's got to be canon anyway, just like Darth Revan was a man. The exile in Knights of the Old Republic 2 was Mitra Surik, a woman, but you still get all the choice, so I'm not going to nitpick that.
Anyway, Yasuke's canon choice for romance is none other than Lady Oichi, which is, oh man, okay, where do we even begin with this? So, even more context for people
At the
that don't
beginning.
know, Lady Oichi, I'm probably saying her name wrong, I apologize, was the younger sister of Oda Nobunaga, the same guy who bought Yasuke in real life and then paraded him around.
I
as
know
a
that was
pampered
the art
friend.
style,
It's
but
real, look it up. Oichi has appeared
those
in
eyebrows.
many other video games too. Here she is in Neo 2, for example,
Damn!
as a character. And here she is as well in Samurai Warriors. That's the Japanese spin-off series from the Dynasty Warriors developers.
Okay, that's my favorite.
Lady Oichi was widely considered to be one of the most beautiful women in Japan when she was alive during that time. She was what can
When
only
she
be
was
described
alive.
as a real-life princess, pretty much. We're talking elegant, beautiful, strong, compassionate, and loved by her people. Oda Nobunaga even once
Japanese Disney princess confirmed.
said, according to historical records, that if Oichi was born a man, she would have been an excellent warrior. She lived to be around 35 or 36 years old before she died. Oichi did die alongside her husband, a lord, when their castle was sieged by rival forces. She
These
also
things
sent her
happen.
3 daughters, who all ended up becoming prominent historical figures in their own right
That's
in
cool.
Japan's history, away from the castle to live on in her name. Oichi was, as you can see, an extremely loyal woman who
See, they're always lately they've always been writing strong female characters, and you know, the Captain Marvel style of things where, you know, everybody's below them, they don't need anybody, they don't need no man, all this stuff. There's a lady right there. She was happily married, she was with her husband, but she was also a badass, she was smart, intelligent, kind, all that stuff. Why don't we have I mean, obviously, maybe Japan's made it. I would be surprised if they didn't. But that's a character that you can go with. Use her as an example of a strong woman. You got Ripley. You got, what's her name? Sarah Connor. Like, come on, people. You can write strong women without making them douchebags.
who was devoted to her husband, Shibata Katsui, which she did also have a husband before Katsui, and that other guy's name was Azai Nagamasa, who died very early in his life, around age 26 or 27. Regardless, Oichi was devoted to her husband.
He's
Like I said,
undefended!
was
Is he
historically
really?
reported to have sacrificed herself to save her children and die with her
I
beloved.
feel
This woman is apparently the canon.
I feel like the guy who's at least a foot and a half taller than everybody else here, probably weighs an extra 100 pounds at least, that just hit this man and sent him what looks like about 10 feet with a katana. I don't know that you would scream, he's undefended. That
love interest
seems
of Yasuke,
asinine
if
to
you
me.
can't believe it. And you're probably wondering, how the hell is she the canon love interest of Yasuke if she
Yasuke
dies
is
with
over
her
here
husband?
clobbering
Well,
people.
it turns out in the game she likes Yasuke more than her own husband in secret, and basically cheats on him repeatedly to
See-
keep Yasuke close to her because he's
And there we go again. More disrespect to the culture. These are historical figures. Don't crap on their names. I mean, everything he just told us would suggest that in her life she was exceedingly loyal, she was elegant, and you know, for Japanese culture, she was maid of honor. She had all the honor. And then they go in here, they're like, "Oh yeah, she was a skank. She was married and everything, but she wanted to just keep her status to be with the Savior of Japan.
The real man that she really wants. Forget about history. Don't believe me? Well, here's their romance scene. Please watch.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Here we are.
Here we
At
are.
last.
Don't turn us away now.
I do. Someone once said it like this. You are a daimyo's daughter, and I am just a samurai.
Not just.
I...
Never.
Okay, first off, just a samurai? Just a samurai? As far as I'm aware, it took a lot to become a samurai. Also, what the hell is his accent?
Just.
What is your accent, sir? Okay, we get it. There's a choice. Yeah. Make a decision.
Lady Oishi, I have learned something in my battles. Time is a veil. Tomorrow is an illusion.
And all we have left.
Okay, so he's a poet and a philosopher as well. I mean, is he the Mary Sue of Assassin's Creed right now? Because I don't know any character that's, you know, supposed to be this wise and everything as a protagonist. Of course, I mean, look at me. My favorite Assassin's Creed was 4, so, you know, I'm just talking from a pirate's perspective.
Is here. And now.
Kitty! Even that kitty looks kind of goofy. Unhand me, feline.
Yeah,
was a
that's
terrible
right,
accent.
fellas. Ubisoft straight up bended history to make one of the most prominent women in Japan at this time fall in love with the legendary black samurai that
Exactly.
was never actually a samurai to begin with. People who know and love Japanese history have, well, they haven't taken this well for obvious reasons.
I mean, you look back at Black Flag as an example. Yes, okay. Edward Kenway, he may have had trysts with female pirates. You know, Anne Bonny, Kid. But that doing it that way because, you know, every like pirates as far as we know were quite promiscuous, going to brothels and such, among, you know, the more profane things that they did. So that makes sense that you could potentially do that. And again, Edward Kenway wasn't real. But it's like the concept of suggesting that, say, we do an Assassin's Creed England for some reason, and the assassin going in and just trying to sweep the Queen of England off her feet. I don't think the English would appreciate that.
As Dr. Alaric Nade puts it here, who has been very vocal about the historical inaccuracies surrounding this game, here's what he said about Yasuke banging Lady Oichi of all people. Ubisoft portrays Oichi as being sexually interested in Yasuke even though she was already married. This is ridiculous. Furthermore, Yasuke refers to himself as just a samurai, which makes it seem as though samurai is not an important position.
Exactly.
It also makes him extremely disrespectful and ungrateful towards his brother, Oda Nobunaga. Of course, we know Yasuke was not really a samurai. This contradiction is just too much.
Now, obviously, he doesn't mean literal brother. We're not trying to add more to the lore of Yasuke over here, but in this situation, you know, as it's being depicted, I assume he means brother as in like comrade, brother in arms type thing. Though I don't know that Oda Nobunaga would have seen him as a brother. From all the research that I've had regarding who Yasuke actually was.
This is definitely probably one of the more egregious historical reimaginings by Ubisoft. They literally bent space and time to force their black samurai to become the savior of Japan and even make him somehow be able to sleep with pretty much One of the most powerful Japanese women of
Exactly.
their time, behind her husband's back, by the way, who was also a samurai and a general of war, by the way, too. This is so sacrilegious. If this was even murmured to have happened,
I
Yasuke
imagine
would have been quarter dude.
we're running through a burning village wearing full samurai armor. It must be hot as hell in there.
Straight up. Same with Oichi. Dr. Alaric Nade also had this to say: Lady Oichi is an ancestress of the current emperor, and she was known for being extremely devoted to her husband. This is very disrespectful. Ubisoft can't be serious, man, but wait, it gets worse.
But wait,
Naoe
there's
too.
more!
So like Yasuke, Naoe also has a canon love interest. What do you think it is? Is it a man or is it a woman? Who are we kidding?
Frankly,
Of course
I
it's a
don't
woman.
care.
This is
She's
Ubisoft
fictional.
and westernized slop people. You thought Naoe would be straight canon-wise? What are you? Someone who wants historical accuracy in your history game? Get your head out of your ass, fellas. Now,
Historical accuracy. She's fictional. Who knows? I mean, according to one of the people that Ubisoft got to be a historian for their game, supposedly, there was a lot of man-boy love back in Japan back in the day. So I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna be one to knock the idea that okay, maybe two ladies liked each other, especially if they're fictional.
loves to slay the poon as much as she does.
I wouldn't call that disrespectful to culture, due to the fact that unless her girlfriend is an actual historical figure, then maybe. But since she's fictional, like whatever, she's an assassin, she lives in the shadows, maybe she has shadowy relationships that nobody sees.
They're bad guys.
Oh my god.
Don't believe me? Here's Naoe making out with Katsukine.
So bad.
Lust is a journey over thousands.
This picture in the background.
That begins.
Hey,
with
bro,
a
I
kiss.
gotta smoke. Damn, eat her face. Eat it. Jeez. Okay, let's go sound design real quick. And just graphical design. Again, unless this footage is being recorded on a potato, why does the ground just look like somebody used the paint bucket in MS Paint and said generic gray ground go? But in addition to that, because there's no texture from the looks of it, but in addition to that, we're hearing so much clothing, but at the same time, it kind of sounds to me like a flag in the wind. I would expect, maybe some dirt, some gravel. There's, ugh. I'm giving them too much credit. I mean, they use MS Paint to make the ground.
And then get excited for next
What is that?
Yet people know what's that? You want more? You want more romance scenes to ruin your day? Okay, fine. I can do more. What if I told you that Yasuke can romance a guy who says that he's non-binary?
By the way, as far as I've seen, my small modicum of research, what is it? What are they called? Female ninjas. We're gonna cheat. Kunoichi. Kunoichi doesn't actually never actually existed. From what I've heard, it would make sense. Like you train a woman to be an assassin, and she can sneak in like a housemaid or something and poison people and whatnot, gain their trust. But as far as historically, it doesn't sound like they actually existed. Again, she's fictional, so do whatever. But in addition, one more thing. I feel like they're using full-on katanas for their shinobi and our kunoichi here. And as far as I know, the ninjato is what shinobi would have used, and it's a couple inches shorter than an actual katana, so this feels a little long.
Let me ruin
Hey,
your
stop
day even
that.
further. Please watch this.
I do not think I have ever seen you quite so tongue-tied.
That guy looks thrilled to be alive in the background. You can see his face better on the left.
Not yet, at least. I hope you aren't easily chilled. Do you
I
think
mean,
someone might see us?
romance option I wouldn't pick. But maybe somebody else would enjoy it.
Maybe.
As long as the game is not all about this.
Do you care?
The romance should be peppered in, not a big chunk of the game.
Not at all.
Stop looking at the camera, sir. I know the camera's fictional, but stop looking at the camera. You're taking us out. What the hell was that? Seriously? Is this footage being recorded on a potato, or has Ubisoft just really dropped the game? Because I feel like that kiss right there, it just kind of looks like they smashed their faces together, as opposed to, you know, actually trying to make a kiss. That looks like Mass Effect 1 era of graphics. Step it up, Ubisoft.
And then get excited for next.
Wow, that was pretty awful, wasn't it? You
I don't
wanna
know
see
who this guy
another
is.
love interest?
But looking at him real quick with the assassin flag in the background, I don't know about you guys, but the marketing for this game the last week has been so cringe. Like, they did a Power Ranger looking opening with Naoe and Yasuke, and it was just so bad. Ubisoft, put more money into your graphics and less into cringe marketing, please.
Scene between Naoe and her canon love interest? Well, you guys are glutton for punishment. You also want to see some cringe dialogue? Get strapped in, fellas. That's a lesbian joke, by the way. Here's
Oh,
some more
God.
cringe.
Watch where you point that thing.
What's wrong, Igahime? Does my teppo make you nervous?
I'm guessing that's what they call the rifle. Okay, come on.
No, I like dangerous weapons.
It was 4 words. We could have read it already.
What about dangerous women?
Is she gonna mount this one too?
Even better.
God, the faces feel so...
I
Oh my God, this
Oh
song.
yeah, that's not all.
But the
Here's a
faces-
scene where
The faces feel so just robotic. Like, I wouldn't even say uncanny valley. They just... Oh, they just seem so outdated with today's graphics.
Yasuke romances his gay romance companion. I'm just torturing you guys at this point.
Yes. Insult to
Oh,
injury,
boy.
sir.
Please watch this too.
Okay.
You are more than worthy.
What is
And
going
this
on?
moment we have shared will be my...
Oh no. Please, no. What? What is
Wow,
this?
That's a lot of
No.
romance scenes. Isn't it incredible how we went from games like the first Assassin's Creed where they got rid of the crossbow?
Yeah, like, look at the graphics even from the first Assassin's Creed. How well they move here. And it just... Like, it's almost 20 years ago. And this FMV looks better than in-game graphics.
In the CGI trailer because it wasn't historically accurate.
Like, they...
To now where you're in Japan playing the big gay black
It almost... Big gay black samurai. It almost feels like they... I don't know why. It feels polygonal to me. Like, their facial features are put on top of their face.
samurai, or this lesbian Naoe chick who was never a samurai.
Hey,
statue,
I like chicks,
non-binary
too.
Pussy, but can also romance
Non-binary
the daughter
pussy.
of the emperor with 0 repercussions, and you can also destroy historical sites and cut down shrine maidens
That's a
as if
problem.
they're nothing but obstacles in your way. To say that Assassin's Creed is pretty cooked would be an understatement, fellas. It's beyond any imagination when it comes.
And just from what I've heard today, because I've been looking at some Assassin's Creed stuff, and that's why I'm making the video. But from what I've heard today, they actually did release a day 1 patch to essentially lock out the ability to destroy shrines and stuff. Which, yeah, okay. That's like news sites printing a retraction the day after.
to what Ubisoft has done here to their flagship series.
Oh, I'm sorry. Everybody's pissed off at us. Retract. Watch, they're going to release a $40 DLC down the road that says, hey, let you destroy the shrines again.
And it's so evidently obvious that they have 100% been infiltrated by...
Okay, so you see the hat in the scene. 2 seconds. There we go. So the sheen off this hat looks pretty damn good. This area, it's moving pretty fluidly. This looks like old Prince of Persia graphics right here. Like the shadows on the wall, yeah, that's good. But this part just, it feels like they had a B team do some of this stuff.
By woke activists. I reported on so much of this already in the past. My sources told me, man, watch out. They're going to make Assassin's Creed
I don't have any sources. He is my source.
To a badly written CW show, but people didn't believe me. They said, you lie. There's no way.
You lie.
Behold, as I just subjected you to multiple...
Oh my god, I hate how he stares like this. Also, judging by the fact that he looks like he's crouched and this person on the right looks like a child, the link's down below. You can see the full unobscured. But the person on the right here kind of looks like that child that at least they were advertising a month ago as essentially part of Yasuke's crew for his version of oh god, Brotherhood, for his version of Brotherhood. And the creepy part about it is the kid is, the last depiction or explanation of the kid that I saw basically suggests that the kid is more or less the mascot of the group. And considering the things that I've heard about one of their historians for this game is a person who wrote a book all about like man-boy love at shrines and stuff in Japan. Why would you include that, especially today?
Multiple.
Hi, Grandma. There he is. That kid.
Multiple torture scenes after torture romance scenes.
But I hate some of the faces that they have Yasuke making. He just looks goofy.
Oh, this game is incredible, which was all made and paid by Ubisoft themselves. I'm not kidding, guys. I told you this game was cooked, and now people have no choice but to believe me now. Oh, it's glorious to see. But what can you expect? I mean,
I don't know who this guy is.
Coping so hard for
I don't
Shadows,
care.
It's kind of crazy. Take this review from VG247, where they gave Shadows a flawless 100 out of 100, and their review says, there are problems with...
No. You didn't give a game 100 out of 100 perfect score and start your review with there are problems. That's not how this works. You don't get to shit on the game, but also call it a masterpiece.
Assassin's Creed Shadows for sure, but it's so fun to play. It's telling a grip.
If there is crap to talk about something, then maybe it could be in the 90s, the 80s, but it can't be 100 out of 100.
Story, and there is so much sense of progress and reward for every little thing you do that it actually feels like an open world game that's taking its cues from a modern roguelike or something. Wow, there are problems with Shadows, but also ignore those guys, it's still perfect. How the hell did you just open your review with there's flaws and then gave it a flawless score? How does that make any sense?
Exactly.
The shilling is just off the charts here. How about the fact that many of the reviews failed to tell you that this game had...
Well, it's like, I might get into it. I might actually watch the movie and review it for you guys. Leave a comment below if you want me to. But it's like the reviews that I've been hearing for the new live-action Snow White. Essentially, there are ones calling it a masterpiece, the flawless, best thing ever. And then there are other reviews by still mainstream people just tearing it down. I mean, there are PR budgets for a reason. You pay certain people, say, hey, here's early access. Also, if you talk mad garbage about our game, we're probably not going to give you another one, so watch yourself.
As you guessed it, a battle pass. In your fully priced AAA game, there's an entire battle pass to grind as well.
Pause. A battle pass? a battle pass for a full price quadruple A game. I'm doing quotes, but you can't see them. A fully priced quadruple A game has a battle pass, and it's single player. This is not co-op. This is not multiplayer. They already failed that with Assassin's Creed 5 Unity? That was, as far as I know, that was their only attempt at ever making a co-op multiplayer Assassin's Creed.
Granted, allegedly, this first battle pass is free, but the expectation here is that as
Still.
content releases for the game, that paid battle passes will become available.
Like, you look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game doesn't have a battle pass. That game had enough content and weight to it to stand on its own. Yeah, sure, you could get a couple cosmetic stuff that you could download from the store. But the game can stand on its own. Just like Call of Duty recently, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, they are trying to mimic Fortnite. Put depth, put fun gameplay in. Don't try to make this, the thing that keeps your company afloat for the next 4 years until you get the next one out. If you make a good enough game, that should stand the test of time until you get the next one out, because you've made a good enough game, not because you have a whole team of devs sitting around making new skins for certain characters and charging Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles basically $100 for 4 skins of the Turtles. Come on, that's more than the damn game cost.
As well. So you can grind your single player game on a battle pass like it's Fortnite. Also, I was looking at the trophies for the game. Apparently, if your game loses connection to Ubisoft servers, it stops tracking trophies, and no, I'm not kidding you. So if you're late in the game and do some mission and complete a story moment that should award a trophy or achievement, but you for whatever reason lose connection to Ubisoft servers, you will now lose that trophy and will have to play the whole game again to make it.
Okay, maybe Sony and Microsoft don't care. Steam-wise, Steam hosts it. But that's just asinine for a company to do. Like, why would you program your game in such a way that offline achievements aren't possible? That... Maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but people with bad internet connections that buy single-player games to play at home on, maybe they live rurally, but they're still a gamer. They can't achievement hunt if, their internet is spotty. And that's a lot to some people.
Pop. Wonderful. I love that. I love having always online requirements for my single-player RPG game where I can't play with my friends or even do co-op yet. But I'm so glad that my experience can be made even worse because Ubisoft servers could go down at any minute while I'm playing it. Let's be real. If the servers go down randomly, then I'll just stop playing the game because why risk losing a trophy, right? What a stupid decision on their part, man. Actual brain dead takes. If your game
That's what I'm talking about with the trophy hunters, achievement hunters.
Intended to be played. And I bet the reason why it's always online is because of that stupid battle pass, isn't it? So you can unlock pointless stuff in-game you'll never use out.
That, or so that they can hotfix everything that they didn't properly fix before launch, or so that they can find more things that Japan finds culturally insensitive and, send out a patch to get it removed or updated.
Outside of a very few things, I'm going to be honest, I'd rather just not have a battle pass at all and just be able to enjoy my
single-player game shouldn't have battle passes.
Personally. But
I will die on this hill.
When they weren't propaganda humiliation rituals, so
never,
what do I know?
Never.
I just don't think I'm the target audience anymore, if I'm being honest. And I also found posts like this funny where this guy says that the incel edition of Shadows would star a hot Asian woman and a white guy first.
I mean, I forget her name, but the girl who modeled for Stellar Blade, she is stunning. She's a real woman too, so nobody can use that. No real women look like this. Just like Stephanie Justin in Metal Gear Solid 5. Stephanie Justin looks like that. She's gorgeous as well. This This guy's like over here being Giga Chad, though.
First of all based, but this dude unironically self-owned Shadows without realizing it himself. Because in actuality, if Shadows starred William Adams, it would have at least been historically accurate, because unlike Yasuke, who did literally nothing, William Adams actually was a foreigner who came to Japan and actually became a real-life samurai and had a home and a Japanese wife and had kids and all of that stuff too. And this has actual...
And I think he's gonna probably get to it in a minute, but he is who the guy in Shogun's based off of.
Historical evidence to back all of this up, unlike Yasuke. By the way, the main character of the first Neo game is based on William Adams.
Oh, is he?
He was an Englishman that specialized in shipbuilding, astronomy, and naval warfare, and even served in the Royal Navy at that time too. And
I'll be honest, I haven't played through Neo. Maybe I have, and I played with a custom character instead of this guy, but you see a lot of anime, and a lot of people interpret most of the white folks in anime to, or rather, most of the folks in anime are interpreted to be white a lot, but those are actually all Japanese people. You know, for the most part, I think the white people in anime are depicted as kind of goofy, larger, very loud.
In 1598, William Adams was hired to...
So honestly, when I first saw this guy on the cover of Neo, I thought he was just very Western-looking Japanese man.
...lead a fleet of 5 ships to the Far East. The mission wasn't to go to Japan specifically. The mission was kind of just to go find silver and spices from all the other
sculpted
countries
face,
and then bring them back to Europe. But the expedition was plagued with a ton of disasters, to put it lightly. Eventually, of these 5 ships, which were destroyed by the natural might of the sea, only William Adams' ship remained. He ended up being marooned on the coast of Japan and was taken in by the people there. William would then meet Tokugawa
whoa.
who would eventually people there.
What the hell is this running?
5 ships which were destroyed by the natural might of the sea, only William Adams' ship remained. He ended up being marooned on the coast of Japan and was taken in by the people there. William would then...
It looks like she's on a bicycle.
...meet Tokugawa Ieyasu, the daimyo of the time who would eventually become Shogun.
Daimyo.
Yeah, the story of the show...
There's the man right there. This girl, she's super pretty.
Book Shogun is based on William Adams arriving.
I love this show.
Anyway, this guy would end up setting up...
If they make another season, I will definitely be watching this. This show was amazing. I loved it.
These markets and basically connecting the West and East for a time. This all took place, by the way, around 1584-ish and like beyond that. But the point is that if William Adams was chosen as Ubisoft's...
I will recommend this to all of you. If you have not seen Shogun, go find it, even if you have to go Assassin's Creed 4 style. I'm not condoning anything, but, you know. Assassin's Creed 4 does have some good morals, especially given what Ubisoft's CEO has said about getting used to not owning something you buy.
Stranger in a strange land? It would have made far more sense for him to become a samurai and actually have a story in Assassin's Creed lore over that of Yasuke.
Oh.
Because unlike Yasuke,
I didn't see the rope at first.
William Adams actually had cultural impact on Japan at large. For God's sakes, the guy had a mansion that was gifted to him by Ieyasu, who became the shogun at the time. Adams also married a Japanese woman named Oyuki and would have 2 children with her named Joseph and Suzuna. Adams would also remain in Japan for the rest of his life, learning their culture, their language, and serving as a loyal samurai retainer to Ieyasu. Here's a picture of William Adams' ship that still stands as a statue within Hirado, Nagasaki Prefecture, where William Adams lived nearby, obviously way back when. Their culture, their language, and serving as a loyal samurai retainer to Ieyasu.
So she comes around.
Here's a picture.
Somehow.
That was gifted to him by Ieyasu, who became the shogun at the time. Adams also married a Japanese...
Yeah, Boken, whatever.
Adams' ship that still stands as 2 children.
Show me this cut.
In Japan for the rest of his life, learning their culture, their language, and serving as a loyal samurai retainer.
That just looks so awkward.
Here's a picture of William Adams' ship.
She is essentially underhanding it, coming up,
Nagasaki Prefecture,
and doing it like a complete wrist spin.
Obviously way back when. But this is real cultural impact. Adams actually had recorded lore that made sense for him to be the outsider character for a game like
Whoosh.
Shadows that would actually make sense. But we all know why he wasn't chosen, because one, he's a white man, so that's a big no-no for Ubisoft these days, and two, Adams was obviously a straight man who married a woman. Again, big no-no,
We're getting a little
because this
political.
means we can't have
But
our
at the same
non-binary
time, it does
man.
make sense because, as I'm aware, the whole Yasuke thing became the centerpiece during the last 4 years. Kind of like how during Pride Month, all the companies suddenly get rainbow flags. It feels to me like they're pandering.
Romance options in our Ass Creed game. So shout out to Sardot, the gamer who self-owned his own point by
Damn.
trying to get a gotcha and proves that he knows absolutely nothing when it comes to Japanese culture or history whatsoever. And that he, alongside other dumbasses, are just morons who will literally eat any DEI slop that is thrown their way because they're
We're
low
gonna stop
IQ
this before we
dumbness.
get too far.
If William Adams was in Shadows, literally nobody would argue with his inclusion. Nobody, because you can't refute.
Well, some
actual
people
real
would,
historical
but
facts.
he is
But the
actually
fact that they
historical.
went with Yasuke deliberately is so
Pardon
clever.
me, but at the same time, I still wouldn't want William Adams to be the main character. Because just like Yasuke, he was a person, we have records. Obviously they're ancient, so they're probably not too detailed, but there are records of these people's lives. So the concept of having a real historical figure as a playable character is not a good idea, no matter who you use.
It's honestly impressive. It's just incredible how little people know about real life history and instead just spew random nonsense as gotchas. Like, if anyone thinks Yasuke was a superior option to William, you actually have brain damage. And you should have to take a test to show that you're smart enough to make decisions on your own going forward. Because the amount of the mastery in this world is starting to reach levels we once thought were impossible. We got gay black.
I don't know. I would call it willful ignorance. A lot of people are suspending disbelief, looking at fictional things and trying to believe them as fact.
Black samurais filling the buns of they them servants and shadows before Grand Theft Auto 6. That's crazy.
What is that? Okay, I think we're gonna stop here just because, yeah, we're getting a little political now. But let me get Hassan off the screen. Go somewhere else. I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like there was a lot more research they should have done. Looking at these graphics, there was definitely a lot more the graphical team should have done in like the 6 months extra that they used to theoretically perfect this game. But I don't know, guys. I'm not looking to really play it. I might play it if it goes the way of Dragon Age Veilguard and becomes free on the PlayStation Store, then maybe I'll play it. But right now, I'm not really looking to it. I didn't like Mirage all that much. Give me Black Flag any day. And, Ubisoft, if you're going to reuse things from the past or things that other people did, look at what they did well and build off that. Don't do something like you did with your recent Skull and Bones game and take the best pirate game, the best ship combat game probably made that you made 10 plus years before it and then make that travesty. But folks, thank you for watching this long. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Please comment below if you're excited for Assassin's Creed, if you've played it, if you like it, if you think I'm completely wrong, let me know down below. And I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to get that good sip.